Hello and welcome to Odds on La Liga, match day 32. We have La Liga games every single day this week, including this Friday. We have Betis, Real Madrid, and Alvaro. La Liga, especially the relegation battle, is really hot, and Sevilla is in turmoil. They are really risking relegation. Imagine Tottenham and Sevilla both going down in the same season.
Yeah, Europa League winners, Sevilla 7 times over the last 20 years, Tottenham last season. But yeah, it's the reality. Sevilla is 1 point away from relegation, and La Liga is looking hot. I think that there has been a factor that may spice up a little bit the title race, believe it or not, is the fact that Lamine Yamal is gone. And he was the only competent attacker of Barcelona, or very good attacker of Barcelona. Lamine Yamal is not going to be back until the World Cup. And that doesn't change a lot. Luckily for Barcelona, they are not in the Champions League semi-final, and they are 9 points away from Real Madrid. But I think Barcelona is going to struggle, for example, this coming weekend against Getafe for that reason. So let's see how it goes. I just want to point out that Atletico Madrid is completely gone. They have forgotten about La Liga. They don't care about La Liga. They are going to qualify for the Champions League unless Betis does something extraordinary. And they've got all their chips in Arsenal and the semi-final in the Champions League against the Gunners.
And how important Alvaro is rotating. We are seeing a very poor Pedri in this stage of the season. We are seeing Lamine Yamal injured. We saw Rafinha injured with Brazil. So in this football nowadays, playing every 3 days, you cannot play every single minute, even if the players then complain and get angry, as we saw Lamine Yamal angry with Hansi Flick the few times he was substituted in a football game. But let's analyze everything. Let me know in the comments, of course, your tips for this match day. And now let's go on with the show. Well, Betis Real Madrid on Friday, great game. And talking about the injury players, Alvaro, Militao and Arda Güler are also gonna miss the whole season. They will show up again, hopefully, for the World Cup. So more problems for Arbeloa. He was asked, it was a bit of a controversial issue this week about Dani Carvajal and why he is not playing instead of Trent Alexander-Arnold. And it looks like Arbeloa and Carvajal, they don't have a good relationship. And on top of that, also, the Real Madrid youngsters are gone. We are not seeing Pitarch. We are not seeing Gonzalo. It's a strange situation in these last games of Real Madrid with almost nothing to play for. They could put some pressure on Barcelona if they win here. And Betis finally won a football game. They were in a real crisis, but they got the 3 points in Girona. And the good news was Isco finally back in the football pitch.
Yeah, I think we spoke last week about this. A little bit too late for Betis, unfortunately, because probably in Betis' plans was recovering Isco before the Europa League semi-finals, and they are not going to be in the Europa League semi-finals because Betis lost against Braga. But yeah, definitely an important win for Betis. They beat Girona 3-2 away from home, by the way, and Betis hasn't lost in 3 games now, which is good. They were carrying a bad trajectory, I would say. But again, I think that they're going to finish 5th. I think that it's too late for anyone to catch Betis. I don't think Getafe will, personally. And on the other hand, I don't think that Betis is going to catch with Atletico de Madrid. And Pellegrini, after the game against Girona, he basically hit his chest in self-assertion. And he said that qualifying for Europe for 6 years in a row is something that only Barcelona, Real Madrid and Atletico do. And in all fairness, there is a little bit, or there is some truth in that from Pellegrini. He has done a great job, and probably Betis will take this game very seriously. There is a little window for Real Madrid still to win the league, or to fight for the league, or to get to the 𝐿𝐴𝐶𝐶𝐿 with some chances of raising some doubts within Barcelona's camp. And Real Madrid comes into this game after winning their game. Not that Real Madrid is in a great shape, that's for sure. But on the other hand, this is one of the good games in La Liga, and if Real Madrid players are not motivated, playing against Betis away from home, then, there is no point here. So my bets are going to be quite simple here. Over 2.5 goals. I think that this game is going to have goals. I'm going to go for that. That pays 154. And then Mbappé to score. I think that every time Mbappé is on the pitch playing for Real Madrid, there is a chance that he scores a goal. He's been delivering for Real Madrid, over 30 plus goals this season. That's great in all competitions. And yeah, I'm going to go for the Frenchman to score a goal. 180, even in the bad nights, like for example against Munich, Mbappé was capable of finding the net. So I'm going for that.
Really bad results lately for Real Madrid in La Cartuja or against Betis away, also in the Villamarín. They lost last season. They drew a couple of seasons ago and 3 seasons ago. So it's been 3 years without a win away against Betis. This Real Madrid that played awful once again against Alaves. Alaves playing on Saturday against Mallorca. This is a relegation 6-pointer. Alaves right now in relegation spots with 33 points. That's a lot, actually, to be in relegation spots. They drew the last 3 games in their stadium, and Mallorca, Alvaro, they perhaps deserve more. Against Valencia, it was only a draw, but away they've been very poor throughout the season. 5 defeats and 1 draw, for instance, in the last 6 away games. Massive game, this one.
This is a massive one, and I'm gonna have. I'm gonna go for the home side. I think that it's quite important here to remember that Alaves under 𝐿𝐭𝐿 has improved a lot. Not that Mallorca is in a bad moment, and they've got a good scorer like 𝗵𝗵𝗏, who is definitely making the difference for them. But Alaves, in a way, has found their 𝗵𝗏𝗏s. Okay, they needed 2 players to equate what 𝗵𝗏𝗏 is doing, which is Boye and Tony Martinez. But Tony Martinez, especially at the end of the season, he's raising up his game. So him to score 295 is something that I recommend people to take into consideration. And then this is the kind of game in which tight margins may apply. And when I speak about tight margins, I'm talking about short score lines. And I went to the correct score just out of curiosity for Alaves Mallorca, because I really think that this is going to be one of those. And 1-0 for Alaves pays to 750, which is good money. But obviously, there is a big speculative element when you go for the correct score, even though you can, reap the rewards, and 750 is going to feel great when you put it in your pocket. But I'm going to go for Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Alaves. I'm going to back the home side here. The home factor at this stage of the season counts a lot. And as I said before, with Quique Sánchez-Flores, I have seen an improvement on Alaves. I think that they have been really good. Even against Real Madrid, they show resilience, and they were fighting until the last minute. So, yeah, Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Alaves, 186.
Also, Mallorca has improved, in my opinion, with Martín de Michelis. 2 very elegant managers, Álvaro. Quique Sánchez-Flores and Martín de Michelis.
There are levels. There are levels. I think Quique. I mean, if I would like to dress like someone or look like someone, it would be probably Quique.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Has an aura. He has an aura. I have to give you that. And the way he speaks also.
The Michelis had a ponytail, man. The Michelis had a ponytail. Quique would have never had a ponytail in his life.
Yeah, indeed. Draw. Okakbar is going for a draw, which is a good option. Always that we have a relegation 6-pointer. Next game is Getafe Barcelona. Getafe won in San Sebastián without any shot on target, because the goal was an own goal by Real Sociedad. So this is very unusual and very borderless, I must say. 6 wins in the last 8 games for Getafe. So they are running for Europe, and this is a tricky game for Barcelona. As we spoke, Lamine Yamal got injured after scoring the penalty against Celta Vigo. He's going to be the season. Let's see if he arrives to the World Cup. Barcelona said he's going to get into the World Cup, but Álvaro, we are seeing a tired Barcelona struggling physically.
Very much, yeah, very much. I think that again, this is obviously a testament of how much money they've got or how much they've been able to invest lately. I always repeat the same thing. Real Madrid has a squad with 25 really good players, in my opinion, or at least players who make a decent salary and players who are first-team squad players. Barcelona doesn't. Barcelona has 18 or 19 first-team players, and then 4 or 5 players who came from the academy who happen to be very good, but those players weren't in nobody's books in May 2024. Who knew about Bernal? Casado was very peripheral, and he still remains peripheral to my sadness. Gerard Martin, Ronnie Bardaghi. There was a rumor that he could be playing with a registration for the B side at the start of the season. You know, footballers like this, they have given, I would say, like decent performances to Barcelona, if not good performances, but they are not super players yet. And when Barcelona loses Rafinha or Lamine Yamal or Pedri, for example, the team suffers incredibly. I mean, an investment is needed. And now I'm a little bit worried for Barcelona, not for Lamine. I think that in 2 months' time, he's going to be fine to start in the World Cup. But for Barcelona in general, because they're going to play against Getafe, presumably with Ronnie Bardaghi and Rashford and a number 9, right? And Ronnie Bardaghi is still to prove himself. Marcus Rashford is a very cold player. And when you play against Getafe, you need someone with personality. Yeah, Ferran probably will be the most reliable outlet of Barcelona at Coliseum, really. But, you know, having said all that, Ferran to score 260 is not a bad turnaround. I think that the money is decent because Ferran is going to be probably the focal point. And he's the kind of player who likes to take responsibilities, even though he may not have the quality of some top players. At least he's got the character. Lewandowski to score, if he plays 250, fine as well, but I prefer Ferran to score. But yeah, my bets for this game will be the following. Asian handicap plus 1.5 for Getafe. So Getafe, you would make money even if they lose by 1 goal. If they lose by 2, you won't. 153. And this one, I really like it. Over 9.5 corners, 210. I think this is the kind of game in which Barcelona is going to try a lot. They're going to struggle to sometimes break a deep block or a low block, even though Getafe doesn't defend always like this. But, you know, the game will be like that sometimes. Let's don't forget that Barcelona is the team in La Liga with more possession, and Getafe is the team in La Liga with fewer numbers of possession. So over 9.5 corners, 210 is something I like because I think that the game is going to be a little bit like that. And, you know, hats off to Getafe, Edu, because they are the second team in La Liga on capitalizing chances. Their XG is low and they have exceeded it. They have conceded 32 goals, which is the 3rd best defense. They have had the fewer possession and yet they are in European places. And then in winter, they sign players like Satriano and Luis Vázquez who have made the difference. And the usual suspects, Arambarri, Niom, Yenene Kunam, David Soria, who are all Getafe legends, believe it or not, they are still performing. So a very good job by them.
Well, I still don't know how Ferran Torres' goal was disallowed. Actually, I didn't see an offside. The Barça president, not Laporta, but the provisional one was complaining about the referees. Not that I am biased towards Barcelona, Alvaro, but these offsides, I cannot see them. The technology might see an offside, but not myself. Well, very tricky game, this one for Barcelona in Getafe. Usually they struggle a lot in this stadium. Next one is Valencia, Girona, also important for the relegation. Valencia kind of happy for the point they got in Mallorca, but be careful before that defeats against Elche and Celta. So I think, Alvaro, the loser of this game is still in trouble. Girona, 38 points, lost to Betis, but in a positive trend. Overall, I think both teams are going to get safe, but still, the loser gets in trouble, especially if the loser is Valencia.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that Valencia is not going to lose this one. Valencia is in big need. Girona, not so much. Girona, at the end of the day, We're talking about a team that has 5 more points than the relegation zone. Alaves, it's in the border of relegation with 33 points, the bad border of relegation, in the wrong border of it. Alaves will be relegated right now. Girona has 5 more points. Valencia has only 3 more points than Alaves. Valencia is a little bit more needed, and it's not a good season for Valencia. We know about that, but they are having a very similar season to Girona in terms of goals scored, goal difference, the home factor. Again, I always refer to the home factor when the league is getting or is closer to the closing stages. And I think that Valencia is going to get something out of this game, plain and simple, because they are playing at home and because at the end of the day, they got players who have been here, not that the squad is too different or too dissimilar to the one from last season. They know how to deal with these situations. Sevilla is a different story. I think many Sevilla players don't know how to deal with this situation, but these Valencia players, after 3 or 4 seasons hanging on a thread, they know how to deal with this situation. So I'm going to go for an Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Valencia. If they draw, you suffer only half a lose, but if they win, you win. And if you win, you get 183.
Okay, we have 𝗀𝐿𝐴𝐶𝐿 going for a draw in this game, which is also an option. Really interesting, the fight to avoid relegation. And for Saturday evening, we have Atletico de Madrid, Athletic Club. You mentioned Atletico de Madrid, they are absolutely gone from La Liga, defeat after defeat against Elche, against Sevilla. Let's see if they show up in their stadium ahead of the game against Arsenal. Of course, all the chips are in the Champions League. The La Liga season is awful. 6 draws and 9 defeats. They are 5 points away from Villarreal. And well, Álvaro, you mentioned if Athletic won against Osasuna, they would be in the European battle and safe, and they got the 3 points. So now they have the opportunity to see up in the standings and try to fight for Europe.
Yeah, I think they have a genuine chance of finishing 6th. It depends on starting with what happens this Saturday, I suppose. But ahead of them, they've got the likes or fighting with them, the likes of Real Sociedad, who has been already qualified for Europe. And I think that from now on, it's going to be a little bit adrift. Then Celta, who is clearly in a negative dynamic. And then Getafe, a team that I don't know if they will really fight to be in Europe. I think Getafe is just thinking on the game they've got ahead of them, but they don't have Europe as a target. And I remember last season, for example, by mid-August, Getafe had only like 14 or 15 players registered in La Liga. They always have the same problem. So if they played in Europe the next season and they still have the same problem, it's very inconvenient for Bordalás if he stays. So from all these teams, maybe Athletic Bilbao is the one who can actually look at the 6th spot with the fresher eyes. Celta has been just knocked out from Europe. Real Sociedad is qualified, as I said. Getafe, not really a target. And Athletic Bilbao suddenly looks at that and says, wow, maybe I can make it. A week ago, Uriarte, the president, was talking about getting 3 more points, 4 more points, and avoid relegation. But Europe has never been discarded either. Last Wednesday, they won on Tuesday against, they won at home against Osasuna, and I think that 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀 showed again how important he is. I also think that Unai Simón did a couple of amazing saves, not only the penalty on 𝗀𝗏𝗏, but also the header of 𝗀𝗏𝗏. Unai Simón was having a great game by Unai. And Atletico de Madrid, they are where they are. And I'm going to give you just a few numbers just that explain exactly why the relegation battle is so congested and why the Champions League battle is so shitty. I'm sorry. Atletico, all right? They are 25 points away from Barcelona, behind. 16 points away from Real Madrid in 2nd place. They have lost 4 in a row in La Liga, but they are still 8 points away from the 5th, and they don't care. they don't care because they know that Betis is not going to catch them. So they have had a very poor season domestically, and they are going to get to the Champions League. So that's a little bit of an embarrassment for the likes of Betis, for example, I would say, because they haven't been able to put pressure on a team that has been doing really, really, really badly. And since all these teams from the 4th until the 7th have done so badly in terms of the point tally, then the relegation is more congested because those teams at the top have lost points against the teams that are at the bottom. But Atletico will rotate. Atletico cares only about Arsenal. This game is difficult. I think it's going to be a little bit feisty, to be honest. So I'm going to go for an over 2.5 goals, 196, because Atletico doesn't care that much and because Atletico has to win.
Tricky game, this one, from the betting perspective. 𝐿𝐭𝐚𝐲 going Atletico de Madrid to win this one, or 𝐿𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐷𝐵 1x, and both teams to score. For this Atletico de Madrid, as you can see in the odds, super high. Atletico de Madrid to win at home, 2.3 is really, really high, but that's why it's impossible to trust Atletico in La Liga in this moment in time. I wouldn't trust them also in the Champions League now. I was more optimistic before, but that's another story. That's for Monday. And Sunday, Álvaro, Rayo, Real Sociedad. Rayo celebrated the win on Thursday against Espanyol as a title. It was a very important one. 𝐭𝐿𝐴 scored the winner. Espanyol missed a penalty, missed some chances, and now the team has 38 points. They are not safe yet, but still in the good way to stay in Primera División one season more and to prepare the conference semifinals against Strasbourg. First time in their history to play European semifinals. Real Sociedad still hangover from the Copa del Rey, nothing to play for.
Nothing to play for, really, very little. I mean, unless they really want to make an attempt to qualify for the Champions League, but I think they are too late anyway. If they want to catch Betis, maybe they have an opportunity, but still, I think that, Real Sociedad has crossed a Rubicon. They have achieved a target that they never thought, definitely not in January, that they were going to get, winning the Spanish Cup. It's been incredible, an incredible story. Real Sociedad beat Athletic Bilbao in the semi-final, which is already an achievement because you beat a regional rival and then they beat Atletico in the final. That's incredible. So this game is going to be played with a little bit more of hunger, I believe, by the Rayo Vallecano side. Rayo Vallecano got 38 points. In my opinion, in this league, Rayo Vallecano has been better than the numbers suggest. And it's true that they have to focus as well on Strasbourg, the former team of 𝗵𝗵𝗻𝗄 Senior, by the way, who is unemployed right now, the Chelsea manager. But sorry?
Poor guy. You think he's still delivering notes to Garnacho? Might be. Please
give me back the tie that I forgot in the locker room, something like that. That is what the note will probably say. But yeah, what a story, that one. But anyway, I think that Rayo is going to get something out of this game because Real Sociedad has achieved a target, and Rayo Vallecano still could do with 3 more points just to make sure that they are staying in La Liga. So I'm going to go for something that is not that crazy. The draw no bet for Rayo Vallecano. There is a big chance that you will get your money back because a draw can happen here. I can see that happening. Then you will get your money back, as you say. But if Rayo wins it, you win 197. So I will go for Rayo Vallecano with a draw no bet, 197. That would be my bet.
The thing that I respect the most about 𝗵𝗵𝗻𝗄 Senior as his time in Chelsea was the video enjoying a pint of beer after a football game, a very English thing. But then anything else was a mistake. That's for sure. Perhaps Iraola, former Rayo Vallecano manager, he's the favorite with Felipe Luis, by the way, but perhaps Iraola follows him, and who knows if Bournemouth gets Íñigo Pérez and we follow the ladder, could be an option.
Yeah, and especially the Iraola thing you say is not that crazy because now that Athletic de Bilbao is about to confirm that Edin Terzic is going to be their manager,
who?
Edin Terzic, former Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah. For which team?
For Athletic de Bilbao. They are close to confirming that. It was reported yesterday. Then Iraola won't go to Athletic de Bilbao. Well, that's obvious, right? So there's a bigger chance now that Iraola stays in the Premier League. But yeah, the Edin Terzic story was broke yesterday by a newspaper in Bilbao, a very, I would say, reliable one, and then a few more newspapers from the region just replicated the story. So I think there is a big element of truth to that. Edin Terzic is very likely to be Athletic de Bilbao's next coach.
That's a surprise for me, to be honest. And he was crazy, I think, to be back to Borussia Dortmund, actually, but perhaps he's not getting the job. Well, this game, some comments here. 𝐿𝐭𝐚𝐲 going for both teams to score and Real Sociedad to win. Tricky. No, 𝐶𝐞𝐿 draw. This is a very difficult game also from the betting perspective. Then we have another relegation battle. Real Oviedo. Elche, Oviedo are going down, but still with pride and fighting. They are getting a lot of points in this stage of the season. They drew with Villarreal. The problem is that the first part of the season was terrible for them, and much more important for Elche right now, +2 with Alaves after beating Real Sociedad, Atletico de Madrid, with Silva scoring a brace. Silva was a very good footballer, Álvaro, actually.
Yeah, well, definitely.
I said it in the past tense because he's now struggling.
Yeah. No, we cannot deny that. We cannot deny that. I think that he's been very inconsistent. Very inconsistent. Can I speak about 𝗂𝐨𝐧𝐧𝐷𝗫𝐿 the other day after Elche beat Atletico de Madrid was defending Athletic, their center back, the creative center back they've got, as if he was some sort of a superstar. He was saying if Athletic doesn't go to the World Cup, it's an absolute joke and things like this. You wouldn't expect this kind of praise for a player like Athletic. But it's true that he's one of the good players of Elche, and Austria is qualified for the World Cup. So, I'm going to join the wagon of 𝗂𝐴𝐵𝐴. I'm jumping on that train, and I'm saying that if Athletic doesn't go to the World Cup, it will be a travesty. But yeah, coming into this game, look, Oviedo is in a good moment, but Elche also turned a page with this win. And I think that in general terms, Elche is a better team than Oviedo, and they've been a better team. So there is an opportunity here to cash a lot of money, in my opinion, which is Elche to win, and I'm going to take it. 3-10. I think that Oviedo, yes, they are fighting with all their soul, their spirit, but this is as much as they have. Whereas Elche, they still have a little bit more. They are a better player, they've got better team, they've got better footballers, and even they've got a better setup on the pitch. I mean, a more consolidated idea of how to play football, because they've been with Sarabia for more than a year now. So I'm going to back Elche to win. I think that Elche can cross a big river here this weekend. So Elche to win 3-10. Otherwise, you can decaffeinate a little bit this and back them with an Asian handicap -0.25. But I'm all in for Elche.
All right, draw for 𝐶𝐞𝐿, another draw. We have a lot of relegation 6-pointers this week because there are a lot of teams involved in the relegation battle. Not Osasuna, but Sevilla are in big trouble. Be careful with Sevilla not going down. They have a difficult schedule and they are only 1 point above relegation. The atmosphere is really bad, I think. Also, the manager, Luis García, not sure if he's the right person to keep the boat not to sink in this La Liga. Luis García Plaza lost to Oviedo and lost to Levante without a shot in target. So a lot of pressure for them in a very difficult stadium like Sadar, like Pamplona. Only 2 defeats at home this season. I wouldn't like to be in Sevilla's trousers in this moment in time, Álvaro.
No, me neither. And, Sevilla doesn't have right now big leaders. You cannot even resort to the emotional leadership of Jesús Navas at this stage because he retired a couple of years ago. So who are the leaders of Sevilla? Rakitic is not there either. Navas is not there. Sergio Ramos left a while ago. Really, it's difficult to think that this Sevilla team is going to put a very good performance against Osasuna in Pamplona. In fact, I'm going to back Osasuna. I saw them play at Bilbao. I have to say that they deserve to draw. 𝗲𝗲𝗏 missed a penalty. He got a glorious chance with the header. Víctor Muñoz was very dangerous. Osasuna is better than Sevilla right now. And I think that Sevilla may not have the personality or the character to come out from this situation. And them playing at home or away, is there a big difference? Well, at home, they feel even more the pressure, but away, they haven't been great either. We can say that. So I'm going to back Osasuna, not only with an Asian handicap minus 0.25 that I could, but I think that Osasuna is going to win this one. So Osasuna to win 2.22 is a good value here. Osasuna has been really good at home. They've got a few players that feel right now very confident about what they are doing. And those players are important. 𝗵𝗫𝗀𝗏, we're talking about Aimar Oroz, Víctor Muñoz, especially 𝗲𝗏𝗏. Yeah, they are a better side. They are a better side. Even Roser, the right back, I really like that player too, the Frenchman. Yeah, they can win this game. 2.22, Osasuna to win.
𝗲𝗏𝗏, we will see him in the World Cup. Correct score 1-0 for Osasuna. Sevilla fans hating the president, trying to sell the club. Be careful if they don't go down. Last 2 seasons, they were 1 point, 2 points away from the bottom 3, and this one is gonna get even worse. And for Sunday, we have a European clash, Villarreal Celta. Villarreal comfortable, 3rd in the standings. Good odds to back them, actually, 2.12, I think, at home, because they are still delivering despite having the Champions League secured. And Celta, well, right now they are outside the European spots by goal difference with Getafe. They competed at Camp Nou, but they are in an awful form. Alvaro, is 4 defeats in the last 6 La Liga games.
Yeah, and what happened against Freiburg, I think that was a massive blow for Celta. They didn't expect to lose 6-1 on the aggregate. Nobody expected that. Celta was decent against Barcelona, but it was a little bit toothless. And that is my opinion about that game. For some reason, Celta couldn't or wasn't able to create chances inside the box of Barcelona. Barcelona kept them away very well from Joan Garcia. And at the end of the game, Barcelona kept possession with difficulties, and they won the game. But Celta was never a candidate to win or to get a draw against Barcelona in a game that, you know, Barcelona suffered. Barcelona suffered. After Lamine Yamal scored that goal and picked an injury, then there was someone in the stands who got a cardiac arrest, I believe. The game got weird, and Celta couldn't capitalize there. I'm going to back Villarreal here. Villarreal at home has been decent, has been very good, I would say. 15 games played over there at home, 12 wins, and only 2 defeats, 1 draw. I think maybe Celta at this point doesn't have the quality or the mentality or the spirit to change those numbers massively, what I'm saying about Villarreal's record at home. So I'm going to go for Villarreal to win, plain and simple, pace over 2. I like it. And let's don't forget that Villarreal has conceded very little at home as well, only 13 goals in 15 games. So, you know, they have done a good season at El Madrigal. That's unquestionable. Villarreal to win.
Yeah, really good odds. I would be not surprised because there are rumors about it, but shocked, I think, if Marcelino leaves at the end of the season because Villarreal wanted, because finishing La Liga in 3rd spot, so comfortable despite the European or Copa del Rey season. I think the most important thing for a club like Villarreal is La Liga, no? And they are doing a great season. And for Monday, we have another crucial game for the relegation. Espanyol Levante are alive. I thought they were in Segunda División, but since the manager arrived, Luis Castro, they are 7th in the standings, let's say, in the fictional standings with this new manager. First time in the season, they win back-to-back games against Sevilla and Getafe, and now they are playing against Espanyol. No wins in the last 15 games, Alvaro, for Espanyol. No wins in 2026. The team is just gone.
It is, they are, and you wonder what happened exactly, but, you know, this is even the kind of run that could end up with Manolo as well. If they haven't done it, it's because Espanyol, they did so well in the first half of the season or the first 15 games that he's got a pass. He still has some credit there, but the truth is that the trajectory is really bad, and I think that I don't trust Espanyol to win this game, but at some point this trajectory has to change. So I suppose that a draw no bet for Espanyol could be some sort of a safe bet, but Levante is doing well, so I much rather go for an under here. Espanyol is not scoring a lot of goals. Levante is not a very prolific side, as we know. They have scored in La Liga, 37 goals? Yeah, that's not a lot, obviously. And away from home, they have scored 16. So I'm going to go for under here. This game could be a pass for me, but it is an under 2.5 goals. It pays 1.99 and the money is pretty decent. Otherwise, you can even go for under 3 goals, but obviously you will get less money.
Okay, well, this is it for La Liga. 2 match days in this week, starting on Friday. Remember, guys, we have available our tipster competitions for you. Chance to win money, thanks to Oddspedia, completely for free to participate. And there you can see the leaderboard in April. And also we can go down and check rivals, where you can create your own tipster league and play with your friends. Alvaro, let's go with your safe bet.
Of course, it's a draw no bet for Villarreal, 151.
I like it. And the ACCA?
It will be a double chance 1x for Rayo Vallecano, draw no bet for Osasuna, Villarreal to win, altogether 5.
Okay, Alvaro, thank you. Thanks everyone for watching us, and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.